One particularly dark Peter Pan theory asks, is Peter Pan evil? Suggesting that the beloved Disney character may actually be a murderous villain, something Disney actually leaned into with 2022's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Peter Pan has been delighting Disney fans for generations since its initial release in 1953. The story, originally written by J.M. Barrie, has been adapted numerous times in both animation and live action. In practically every incarnation, Peter Pan is the hero of the story, and the recognized villain is almost always Peter's sworn enemy, the feared pirate Captain Hook. The story of Disney's Peter Pan is decidedly more child-friendly than Barrie's original story, but the general premise remains the same. Peter lives in Neverland, where he acts as the leader of the Lost Boys, and the worst crime that can be committed is that of growing up. Living in his state of eternal youth, Peter Pan regularly clashes with Captain Hook and his pirates, and in the film, he brings Wendy, John, and Michael Darling to Neverland to share in his adventures. However, a popular theory, via Reddit, outlines Peter Pan's true nature. The theory posits that Peter Pan actually kills the Lost Boys as they grow up, effectively serving as a magical ageless tyrant in Neverland. The theory paints Peter Pan as the actual villain of the Disney movie, and every other character in the movie as unwitting pawns in Pan's murderous schemes. It also manages to paint Captain Hook in a far more sympathetic light, as he's the only one brave enough to properly resist Peter Pan's apparently evil ways. So, is Peter Pan evil for real? The evil Peter Pan theory explained, of course. On the surface, the idea seems ludicrous, but with the added context of Barrie's original story, the world of Peter Pan becomes far more sinister. According to the story, the boys on the island vary, of course, in numbers, according as they get killed and so on. And when they seem to be growing up, which is against the rules, Peter thins them out. This paints the supposedly sweet story of Peter Pan and Wendy in a much darker light, and the implication is that Pan murders the lost boys who grow up. According to many variations of this theory, Hook is a former lost boy who escaped Peter's clutches and returned to fight against him. The theory suggests that Peter Pan's tendency to murder his friends once they begin to age serves as the true basis for the bad blood between Hook and himself, and that the pirate's crew is made up of other former lost boys who help Hook resist Pan's magic. According to the theory, these lost boys chose to grow up but didn't want to leave their home and instead resisted the tyranny of Peter Pan. Though this Peter Pan theory may seem ludicrous, its basis stems from the book on which Disney based their film, to begin with. This adds a dark layer of context to Disney's Peter Pan that doesn't entirely mesh with the House of Mouse's family-friendly image. However, this doesn't stop the theory from being any less plausible, meaning that Peter Pan could potentially be the story's true villain. Disney leaned into evil Peter Pan in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, although it doesn't confirm the theory that Peter Pan systematically murders the Lost Boys. Disney did capitalize on the idea of him being a villain for the 2022 movie Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, positioning Peter as a disgruntled 30-something who can't let go of the cartoons with which he grew up. In the film, which blends animated characters with live-action environments, an aged, balding, ex-child star take on Peter Pan, under the alias Sweet Pete, turns out to be the bad guy in charge of a bootlegging ring that kidnaps and rips off existing IPs. This shows that Disney is ready to laugh at the darker side of their history and took every opportunity to do so during Rescue Rangers. It's a more noticeable action than the studio's quieter choice to remove the Peter Pan movie from the Disney Plus Kids offerings due to its racist stereotyping.